So, I want to talk about something that almost every young professional struggles with, even the capable ones. Actually, especially the capable ones. I'm talking about boundaries. So, not the really intense ones, I'm quitting, I'm done, never going to do this again. Not that. I'm talking about the small boundaries, like in every day, like if you decide you're not going to do the extra tasks that you're consistently asked to do, or an email that you're going to write late at night even though you're exhausted and it's beyond your work times, or a meeting that you sat in and you knew something was off, but you didn't say anything or you didn't act on it, or when your workload becomes so much because you keep saying sure instead of saying, I need time. So if you've ever felt or thought, I don't want to be difficult, they probably need me, or I'll just go ahead and handle it, like just those gray zones that we push ourselves into, then I'm going to ask you to walk with me. Okay? Because this is not about being weak. It's actually about how you've both been conditioned and you're continuing to condition yourself. All right? So I'm Leezá Steinorf. I'm an international leadership coach. I'm a member of the Forbes Coaches Council, and I've been helping professionals and emerging leaders around the world for decades, really, to feel their ground, to find their voice, and to create success the way it means the most to them. And I want to talk about why it is that boundaries feel so hard for a lot of us, not everybody, but for a lot of us, because this is what's actually happening. Most of us learned really early on, actually, that it felt safer to be liked and to go along with things than to be honest. Like showing up and stating what was present for us somehow got us rejection or maybe even punishment or withdrawal, whatever it was for you. So we learned to become helpful and flexible and accommodating and reliable. And those are not bad traits. But the question is, have we learned them in order to anticipate other people's needs so that we can feel safe, so that things go smooth and there aren't any kind of ripples, if you will? Yeah. Or are we doing that from a stance of strength and we decide we want people to be able to lean on us when we're able to help? Or we want folks to be able to call on us to accommodate or go the extra mile because we have the capacity to do so. So, in professional environments, depending on how you're living out those traits, you're either going to get rewarded or not. And when you go beyond your personal boundaries, when you stretch to a point of almost breaking, they're not going to get rewarded because you're just going to be tired all the time. And your resentment is going to start to build up. And your body is going to start to show signs of stress and tightening and maybe illness, right? And then another request comes and you're coughing and sneezing and you're doing it anyway, if that sounds familiar, right? So your system is literally saying to you, something is out of alignment. So I want to help you consider anyway, boundaries are not pushing people away and they're also not choosing to not be helpful. Boundaries are literally about staying connected to yourself. It's stating what will work for you as well as what won't work for you. Okay? So let's get a little, we're going to start with clarity, what boundaries really are, okay? Because they're not ultimatums. It's not, I will only do this if at all. And it's not about putting up walls or being cold toward people. It's about being clear, first within yourself, what you can do, what you can't do, what works for you, and what doesn't, according to your framework, your capacities, your value system. That's it. That you become the measure of how you interact with what's being asked of you. It's not real complicated. Boundaries really, it's information. And it's information for yourself first to understand it, but then you give that information to other people so that they can fill in whatever blanks they have about what they can ask of you. Usually, they're going to fill in what works best for them because otherwise they wouldn't be asking. They're not bad, they're not trying to exploit you, they're just asking. And the onus then on you to say, hmm, this will work for me and that won't work for me. So the first step isn't necessarily saying no, it's knowing yourself. It's becoming a student of yourself, self-leader, if you wish. So before you even answer a request, you ask yourself, do I have capacity for this? Do I want to do this, for example? is it aligned with your values? And if that's all yes, then what would saying yes cost me? Like, do you have what you it would need to say yes to the situation? And do you want to bring it? The answers to those questions are going to frame your boundaries. It's self-knowledge. So we're going to move into ownership. And a big part of that is stopping the overfunctioning. And I know from whence I speak. Okay. So this is where it gets kind of serious. So a lot of young professionals, they don't have boundary problems. They have overfunctioning habits. They jump in before they're asked. They try and fix things that aren't even their responsibility to fix. Um, they absorb other people's emotional challenges, yeah, and end up then carrying responsibilities for others that actually were never theirs to begin with. And whether they're doing that consciously or not, it becomes a pattern, a habit. Yeah. And then it's familiar. And because it's familiar, we just kind of go along with it. It's like, oh, that's just what I do. Or maybe it feels useful. Or it feels safer to do it that way than to disappoint someone or think will disappoint someone. So overfunctioning does not make you indispensable. Your value, just your value, makes you indispensable, makes you worthy. But when you overfunction like that, often you become often unnoticed because people just get used to, oh, they'll do that, they'll do that, they'll do that. And then now you've trained them to know that, oh, you'll do that, right? So that assumption becomes the baseline of how you're seen and also how you're treated in the world. So we actually train people how to treat us. So ownership here looks like taking moments, stepping back just enough to figure out where is the responsibility for something and let it land there. And even if it's not your responsibility, you could still help. But it's important to know whether it's your responsibility or not. And even speak to it from that place and act from that place. And you don't have to be dramatic and make all kinds of claims and statements and all of that. Just be clear. Get clear within yourself and build that professional maturity. Okay? All right, so let's look now at resolution and how we align this, how we align setting boundaries with our value system, with our capacities. And we're going to get practical. So here's a couple grounded ways that you can set boundaries without burning any bridges or rupturing relationships. So instead of saying, oh, sure, I'll figure that out, you can groom, I don't have the capacity for that right now. Right? So you're not just taking it on, you're stating what your situation is. Instead of just saying, oh, yeah, I can stay late if someone's asking you to go beyond your limits, say, today I'm at my limit. Can this wait until tomorrow? Have the conversation. So you're starting with your stance, if you will. Or if someone's asking you to do something, you can say, I will take care of it tomorrow. Or it sounds important. Who's responsible? Can we move it on to them? So instead of the knee-jerk immediate response of, oh, absolutely, I'll take that on because it's helped us, it's kept us feeling safe, it's kept us in this sense of belonging, whatever our reasons are, we slow down that process and we notice first what's present for me. We go to a place that's calm. We can be respectful with ourselves and with the other person, and we can speak to things directly, which is something most people aren't used to saying and doing, right? You don't have to over-explain and you don't have to apologize. I'm at capacity today. I'm happy to help you tomorrow. And even if somebody responds allergically, what do you mean you're at capacity? Come on, I'm always doing, I understand that today that's where I'm at. You don't have to justify at all. You are allowed to say, I'm not available for that, especially if it's not within your role or if it's outside of the time frame, the workday, what have you. Full stop. You don't have to continue beyond that. Okay? And that's a practice. It might feel clunky and awkward at the beginning. Hang with yourself. Give yourself some grace in practicing this. A lot of the tools that I share here, they are practices. It's not, oh, do one, two, three, and now you've got it. We grow into things. That's how we evolve. Okay? All right. Let's talk about excellence. And excellence is really, it's not about being perfect. It's not about being polished all the time, not making mistakes. It's about coming from our highest and best. And when we do that, we can build healthy boundaries that undergird our growth. Okay? So when you set clean boundaries, and that starts with knowing yourself and what it is that you want, and if this aligns, as we started out with in clarity, right? When you share that and when you act from that place, then people know where you stand. And because you don't have that strain anymore of trying to battle what's being pushed on you, you can hold your ground. Your work improves, your energy, you either retain your energy, you may even have more energy if you really love what you're doing. You're not as resentful because you're not doing stuff that you don't want to do or that isn't even in your wheelhouse to do, right? And when you share your boundaries, when you share your framework in a respectful way, calm way, you don't make anybody wrong, people gain more respect for you because they know that they can rely on what you say is so for you and that you do it in a respectful way. So, excellence is not about doing more, it's about how you stand, how you show up, and where you stand in yourself as you're showing up. Okay? It's about being reliable without depleting yourself. That's not necessary at all. And it's also necessary that somebody else is working overtime and depleting themselves. If that's consistent, then something needs to change in the system. And I will say this, a lot of organizations in the colonized Western world absolutely demand too much of their people for the time frame, for the salaries. I understand what you're up against. So I'm not saying this is an easy fix, but that's what I said at the beginning. Start with small boundaries, smaller steps, if you will, that you can take to practice this. And if other people start doing that too, the culture can change. And when you say yes, then mean it. Like let it be a resonant yes for all of yourself. I'm here. I'm going to do this and own it. And when you say no, stand in that as well. And you also might say, not now. And you set that framework up. That is sustainable leadership. Self-leadership first and leadership in a team if that's your role. You don't even have to have that title of leader, though, in order to be practicing that kind of leadership. So I'm going to give you a mini practice here. Just take a breath, all right? And think of one area where you have been overgiving, overdoing, going beyond what has felt comfortable for you. Just think about one situation, one area. And then ask yourself, what would it look like if I were to honor myself in this situation? However that looks. Answer that question. What would it look like? And then you can ask yourself, what is one boundary that I could set? And don't start with how are they going to receive it? Start with how would it feel if I said no to this? I had a client actually who was dealing with burnout. And so I was working with her to start setting up some boundaries. And she was a director. She had a lot on her plate. So one of her boundaries was she said to her team, I am not available from Friday night at 5 p.m. until Monday morning at 8 a.m. That was her boundary. And at the beginning, her struggle was that she herself wanted to go to her work computer and get things done. So she literally locked her computer in the closet and left it there for the entire weekend until she got comfortable with, oh, wow, this is my free space. I can do what I want here. So think of one small boundary when you're thinking of this situation. What would it look like if you honored yourself? And then what's one step you could take to honor yourself, to respect your capacity, to respect your desires and your values, and to set a boundary? Okay? Doesn't have to be huge. Just think of one. So that's a challenge for you, okay, for this week. So as you move away into the day, into the rest of your week, I'm going to invite you to, before you agree to anything, pause for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. That's it. And in that time, ask yourself, do I genuinely have capacity for this? If the answer is no, you can practice on how you want to say it. Either I'll get back to you, or I can't help you at the moment. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Whatever that phrase is, prepare it so that when somebody comes, it's coming at you, you're getting the request, take that 1, 2, 3 second pause, and then you use that statement if you don't have the capacity for it. Okay? So that's something you can take into your daily actions. All right. So I want to kind of recap. You don't need to be cold or harsh in order to have boundaries. It's such a statement of self-respect. And interestingly enough, you literally invite other people to also create boundaries by holding your own. And that means you get to be honest with yourself. It's not about separating yourself from other people. It's really about staying connected with yourself while you're staying in relationship. And that's healthy. That's really healthy. Okay. Yeah, that's adulting, as I've heard people call it. It's emotional intelligence, basically, in action. And that's how you build a career that literally doesn't burn you out and cost you something. It lets you build and strengthen your nervous system and also your resilience and your joy in the work that you're doing. Okay? So, if this landed with you, please share with me in the comments what kind of boundaries are you working with right now? Like what came to mind as you were listening to this? And the next, we're going to talk about what you can do after things have already gone slightly sideways and there is rupture or you need to repair something. Okay, that's going to come in our next video. If you found this useful, please do like and subscribe because then you'll get notice when other videos come out and share it with people in your office. This might be useful to other people as well. All right. Thanks for listening and be well.